The year is 1888. A harsh sun bakes the Arizona territory, stretching endlessly over arid landscapes and distant mountains. A small cloud of dust appears on the horizon, gradually resolving into the figure of a boy. Caleb, no older than 12, small for his age and clad in worn, oversized clothes, riding a scruffy old mare. His face is smudged with dust, and a quiet determination flickers in his tired eyes as he guides his horse towards Redemption Gulch, a dusty, struggling town in the heart of the territory. The rhythmic creak of the saddle is the only sound accompanying his solitary journey. He grips the reins, his small hand clenching a worn leather pouch. He dismounts in front of O'Malley's General Store, the largest and most well-stocked establishment in town. The facade, though a bit faded, still commands respect. Caleb secures his mare to a weathered post, then tries to brush the dust from his clothes, a futile attempt to appear more presentable. He whispers to himself, his voice rough from the dry air. "It'll be all right, Ma." The bell above the door jingles as Caleb steps inside. The air is thick with the smell of dry goods, stale tobacco, and aged wood. Shelves overflow with various products, casting long shadows in the dim light. Mr. O'Malley, a burly man in his 50s with a perpetually scowling face and a greasy apron, stands behind the counter polishing a whiskey bottle. He barely glances up as Caleb approaches, placing a tattered, dirty piece of paper on the counter. The careful handwriting of a child is visible on the crumpled list. "Afternoon, sir," Caleb says, his voice a little shaky but polite. "I need these supplies for my ma." O'Malley snatches the list, his eyes scanning it with open disdain. He lets out a harsh, grating laugh that echoes in the quiet store. "Flour, sugar, medicine. And look at this, a whole bolt of fabric. Boy, do you even know what these things cost? You got enough coin for all this, or are you just wasting my time like all the other homesteaders?" A grizzled prospector, one of the few other customers, chuckles along. Caleb's cheeks burn with embarrassment. He bites his lower lip, feeling the weight of curious stares. He takes a deep breath and reaches into his pocket, pulling out a worn leather pouch. He carefully counts out a handful of silver coins and a few gold nuggets, placing them on the counter. It's a significant amount for a boy, but O'Malley barely registers it. "I do, sir," Caleb manages, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's all we have. My mother is very sick." O'Malley, with a dismissive swipe, pushes the coins back towards Caleb, sending them scattering across the counter. "Is this some kind of joke, kid? This ain't even half of what you need. And even if it was, what makes you think you can afford these things? Your kind always wants something for nothing. Go on, get out of my store before you track more dust in." The prospector's laughter grows louder. Caleb's heart sinks. Tears prick at his eyes, but he blinks them back furiously. He clutches his pouch and list, the laughter and murmurs of the men echoing, making him feel small and useless. He turns to leave, his shoulders slumped in defeat. As Caleb reaches the doorway, a strong, cutting voice echoes from the street, instantly silencing the laughter. "O'Malley, is this how you treat your customers, with such disrespect?" Caleb freezes, surprised by the unexpected intervention. O'Malley, usually so arrogant, now looks suddenly small and frightened, his face pale as he stares at the figure standing in the doorway. It is Thomas Sterling, a man in his late 50s with an imposing stature, impeccably dressed, and a stern, discerning gaze. The sunlight silhouetting him gives him an aura of undeniable authority. The silence in the store is absolute, save for the distant sound of the wind. "Mr. Sterling." "My apologies, sir. I didn't see you there." O'Malley stammers, visibly nervous. "Just a minor misunderstanding with the boy." Sterling ignores him, his eyes fixed on Caleb, who still stands frozen on the threshold, his small shoulders slumped. Sterling's expression softens slightly as he approaches the boy. Caleb watches him with a mixture of fear and dawning hope. O'Malley, behind the counter, trembles. "Boy, what is your name?" Sterling asks, his voice calm yet authoritative. "Caleb, sir," he mumbles, his voice almost inaudible. Sterling's gaze hardens as he looks back at O'Malley. "So you denied this boy the supplies he needed despite him offering payment?" O'Malley tries to bluster, his face draining of color. "He didn't have enough. And besides, I run a business, not a charity." Sterling's expression turns cold, a thin, almost imperceptible smile touching his lips, devoid of warmth. "Is that so? Because I believe I just witnessed a deplorable display of cruelty and poor judgment. You see, Mr. O'Malley, this young man, Caleb, is a Sterling. He is the son of Arthur Sterling, a man who, I assure you, owns more land in this territory than you could ever imagine. And soon, when he comes of age, Caleb will inherit every acre of it." A collective gasp ripples through the store. O'Malley's face turns sickly pale green, his eyes wide with shock. The prospector's jaw drops, a faint clatter as something slips from O'Malley's trembling hand. The idea that this humble boy could be the son of the legendary reclusive land baron, Arthur Sterling, is unfathomable. "The land baron's son?" O'Malley stammers, his eyes darting from Caleb to Sterling. "But he never said—" "Why would he?" Sterling interjects, his voice laced with scorn. "My nephew was simply seeking to purchase goods, like any other customer. Your arrogance and prejudice blinded you." Sterling turns to Caleb, who watches him, stunned. His face, once marked by humiliation, now carries a mixture of surprise and a glimmer of hope. The sunlight from the doorway subtly illuminates his face. "Go on, Caleb. Get your supplies. Anything on this list and anything else you deem necessary for your family's comfort. It will be accounted for." Caleb, still, in shock, can only nod. He re-enters the store, his head held a little higher. O'Malley, now trembling, scurries to gather the items, apologizing profusely to Caleb, offering discounts, even carrying the heavier sacks to the boy's mare. The other customers look on in stunned silence, their previous amusement replaced by awe and a touch of fear. Caleb watches O'Malley loading the products, a quiet sense of justice filling the air. Caleb steps out of O'Malley's store, the shopkeeper following him, arms laden with supplies. O'Malley is visibly pale and servile, a stark contrast to his earlier arrogance. He stammers apologies as he ties the bags onto Caleb's mare, fumbling with the ropes. Caleb barely responds, watching O'Malley with a new understanding dawning in his eyes. O'Malley finishes loading the mare and backs away, bowing several times. "It's all right, Caleb. You acted with dignity. Your father would be proud." Thomas Sterling's voice is softer now that they are alone. He places a firm, gentle hand on Caleb's shoulder. Caleb looks up, a mixture of relief and confusion in his eyes. My father? You know him, sir?" Caleb asks, his voice filled with a hesitant curiosity. "More than that, my boy. I am Thomas Sterling, your father's brother, your uncle." Caleb looks at him in astonishment, a flash of recognition and deeper curiosity in his gaze. He had never known of any uncles. Thomas smiles, a melancholic expression. They begin to walk together down the dusty street, away from O'Malley's store. The sun is starting to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The distant sounds of the town, muffled conversations, the creak of a wagon fade into the background. "Your father, Arthur, is a man of principles," Thomas explains, his voice calm yet authoritative. "He always believed that true character isn't forged by wealth, but by resilience, by ingenuity, and by the ability to face the world with your own hands. He wanted you to grow strong, Caleb, unburdened by our immense fortune, without people, seeing you only as the land baron's son. He wanted you to learn the value of hard work, of empathy. Your identity has been kept a secret for your own protection and development. Caleb recalls a brief, warm memory of his father, Arthur, a man with features similar to his own, but older and weathered, working the land beside a younger Caleb, laughing. He processes his uncle's words, a new perspective on his life forming in his mind. I only came to Redemption Gulch because I heard your father, Arthur, was in declining health, Thomas continues. I wanted to make sure you and your mother were well. That incident in the store, it was just a consequence of O'Malley's foolishness and prejudice. I recognized you immediately despite your humble appearance. And I couldn't allow such a despicable man to humiliate my own nephew. So that's why he didn't tell me, Caleb says thoughtfully, looking at the ground. Exactly, Thomas confirms. He loves you, Caleb. And he wanted to give you the strongest possible foundation. Now come, I need to make sure your mother has everything she needs. Thomas's hand rests on Caleb's shoulder, a paternal connection solidifying between them. The setting sun illuminates their faces, hinting at a new beginning. As night falls, Caleb and Thomas Sterling arrive at the family's modest but well-kept cabin, isolated amidst the arid landscape. Caleb's mare is laden with supplies. The air is cooler now, and the crickets have begun their nightly chorus. Caleb rushes into the cabin, followed by Thomas. Sarah, Caleb's mother, in her late 30s, lies in an improvised bed, pale and weak, but her eyes light up when she sees. Caleb, the room is simple but clean. Ma, I got them. I got all the supplies and the medicine. Caleb's voice is choked with emotion. Sarah tries to sit up. Caleb gently embraces her. Thomas enters, watching the scene tenderly. Sarah sees Thomas, her eyes widening slightly before an expression of comprehension crosses her face. My boy. Thomas, is it really you? Sarah's voice is weak but full of affection. Hello, Sarah. I came to see how you both are and to ensure my brother and his family are well cared for, Thomas says, offering a warm smile. Caleb helps his mother take the medicine. The simple but warm blankets on the bed, the crackling fireplace. Sarah coughs softly, then sighs in relief after taking the remedy. Thomas, demonstrating an unexpected domestic skill, prepares nutritious food, warm soup and fresh bread for them. That night, the previously isolated cabin fills with warmth and hope. The medicine begins to take effect and Sarah breathes more easily. Thomas Sterling's unexpected support is not just material, but emotional, a balm for the wounds of loneliness and struggle. Thomas and Caleb sit at the cabin's table, eating by the light of a single lamp. Caleb tells Thomas about their homestead, the difficulties they faced and their small triumphs. Thomas listens intently, offering practical advice and showing genuine respect for Caleb and his father's hard work. The crackle of the fire in the hearth creates a comforting ambiance. A sense of peace and security settles over them as Caleb and Thomas exchange smiles, their newfound family connection strengthening with each passing moment. Over the next few days, news of the incident at O'Malley's General Store spreads like wildfire through Redemption Gulch. O'Malley's business now has few customers, and he himself appears shrunken and dejected. In stark contrast, other stores in town seem to prosper. Whispers and looks of respect follow Caleb whenever he appears. He walks with more confidence now, though he remains the same humble boy. Caleb interacts with other merchants. He buys supplies, and they treat him with genuine respect, offering help and smiles. An elderly bakery owner offers him an extra biscuit. A blacksmith offers to mend a small defect in his mare's shoe for free. For the first time, Caleb feels a true part of the community. The prejudice that once oppressed him has dissolved in the face of the revelation. Caleb is no longer just the poor homesteader's son. He is the young man who will one day control vast lands, and this new perception, while still a shock to him, opens previously unthinkable doors. One afternoon, Caleb sits alone on a bench. In Redemption Gulch's main square, watching children play, he feels a pang of loneliness, but then a few children approach him, curious and friendly. He watches them with a cautious smile as a little girl offers him an apple. Caleb and Thomas. Sterling often talk in a tranquil spot just outside town, perhaps by a flowing stream or near some weathered rock formations. The setting is serene, filled with the gentle sounds of water and birdsong. Sarah, now visibly stronger and healthier, sometimes joins their conversations, discussing Caleb's future and his father's legacy. "Your father, Arthur, wanted you to learn the true value of things," Thomas explains. "He always believed that humility and resilience are the greatest riches. It's not about what you own, Caleb, but about who you are." Caleb remembers a quick memory of his father, Arthur, teaching him to plant, his hands covered in dirt, a proud smile on his face. "I understand now, Uncle," Caleb says thoughtfully. "That humiliation at the store. It made me see people differently, and it made me see how much you and my father value more than just money." Sarah, with affection, takes Caleb's hand. "You are a strong boy, Caleb. Your father gave you the most important tools, character and a good heart." Thomas and Caleb discuss the future of the homestead. Thomas offers support and resources, but emphasizes that Caleb will make the decisions. Caleb begins to show a maturity and vision beyond his age, contemplating how he can use his eventual influence to help the Redemption Gulch community in the future. He doesn't just want to inherit, he wants to build and improve. Months pass, and with them Sarah's health is fully restored. Caleb continues to visit Redemption Gulch, and with each visit he feels more respected, more a part of the place. He begins to forge genuine friendships, not based on his inheritance, but on his character. He learns that true dignity is not dictated by titles or wealth, but by how one faces challenges and treats others. Caleb, now a little taller and with firmer features, stands on an elevated plateau, looking out over Redemption Gulch in the distance. The sun is setting, painting the sky with vibrant colors. He is no longer alone. A few children, his new friends, sit beside him. He points towards the town, an expression of hope and determination on his face. Redemption Gulch. "It was once a place of shame for me," Caleb narrates, his voice more mature and confident, "but now I see a place of opportunity, of a new beginning for all of us." The view slowly widens, showing Caleb and his friends looking towards the future, with Redemption Gulch stretching out on the horizon. The music swells, epic and inspiring, ending on a note of hope and triumph as the screen fades to black.